Watergate Street, Row South. Our journey through the rows continues at Watergate Corner, overlooking the Cross, the junction of the old city's four main streets. This is one of Chester's architectural highlights, just like the magnificent black and white Eastgate Corner across the square. Before you stands the High Cross, where the town crier calls, "Oh yay!" in the summer months. And beyond is St Peter's Church. You can find out more about this scene on the Eastgate Corner and Bridge Street Row East section of this trail. Now head west along Watergate Street, once the route to the port. You'll be treated to three of Chester's finest timber frame buildings on this stretch. The first is God's Providence House at number 9, its location revealed on the row by a beamed ceiling. As throughout our tour, you'll need to go down to street level or the opposite row to view facades of buildings. There's rich plaster decoration to admire here, and an inscription after which the house takes its name. God's providence is mine inheritance. This was a thank you from the owner for being spared the plague, which ravaged Chester's inhabitants in the late 17th century. We have the Victorians to credit for saving this building from destruction, although the revamp by the architect James Harrison, a champion of the Tudor Revival style, is said to be much bigger and bolder than the original. It's a common charge by critics, who feel the restoration efforts of Chester's Victorian architects were overblown. Pop into Harriet and Dee, the shop now occupying God's Providence House at row level. Climb the stairs to the upper showroom and you'll find some beautiful plasterwork of flowers and fruit on the cornice and ceiling panels, including the once much prized pineapple. Return to the row and continue forward to the next beamed ceiling, which announces the presence of Leach House. The first parts of this building appeared in the 1300s, and it has been tampered with in almost every century since. Check out the facade from street level. It features a Tudor beam carved with grapes and vine leaves, and the original Georgian windows. The date 1736 is scratched on one of the high-up panes. Go back up to row level to peep through the shop window and see one of the house's astonishing internal treasures, a huge fireplace on the east wall from the late 14th century. Its Tudor overmantel features Ionic columns and the Leach coat of arms. When the shop's open, you might be able to step inside to see the remains of a plasterwork frieze. Some say it carries a coded message about a clandestine visit to the city by Catherine of Aragon. The third jewel in this row can be found a little further along. Bishop Lloyd's house, at numbers 51 to 53, is in fact two properties. They were made into one in the 17th century and named after George Lloyd, Bishop of Chester from 1605 to 1615. The Victorian architect Thomas Lockwood, whose work we encountered at Watergate Corner, restored this property. He remodelled the row front to install the flight of steps that lead down to the street and replace some of the posts that support the chamber above. Look closely at the carvings on the bracket posts. Some of the bearded giants and beasts are Jacobean. Continue along this row to its end at the 17th century Ye Olde Custom House Inn. Then cross the road to the top of Trinity Street for the next part of our circular journey through the Chester Rows.